Now, this is a football team, Rex. I will remind you once again, the last time they lost a game, it was the month of September.
Yeah.
Why would there be this kind of drama on a team that is playing this well?
Well, I think Sal hit it on the head. He said it's self-inflicted. And this is what happens sometimes to receivers mainly. You know, they want the ball and all that stuff. But here's the thing. Everybody wants it, man. Like, we all get it. You're a great player and all that. But you come off as seeming like you rather have a lot of catches than wins. Wins are the most important thing, period. And you can't let this affect your play. You know what I mean? And the thing is, he does. This guy's a phenomenal player.
Yeah.
A.J. Brown is a phenomenal player, all right? But come on, dude, be a phenomenal teammate. And sometimes that's what kind of separates world champions from others. And it shouldn't be this way. This guy is an unbelievable player. But come on, dude. You guys have won 9 straight. Let's talk about winning 9 straight games. And yes, we're doing it differently. But you know what? That dang formula works. 100% it works.
Yes, I disagree with this. Listen, he got asked a question, what they need to work on post-game, and he answered it honestly, and he answered it correctly. Passing game. The passing game was abysmal, and I don't think this is about a prima donna receiver that's upset about not getting the football. He understands, listen, they get into the postseason and they throw the football like they did in this game, they're not going to win. And Jalen Hurts missed so many opportunities. Time and time again, A.J. Brown was open in this game. He is the primary receiver in this offense. He had a one-on-one, and he was open, and they didn't get the ball to him. This is the second play of the game. Every team in the NFL scripts their first 15. That is A.J. Brown on the deep route. I promise you he is the first read in this progression. It's a top-down read. There's number 2, Devontae Smith, 3 in the flat. Look how open A.J. Brown is. I mean, you have to put this ball up. This is unexcusable. Instead, we check it down for a 4-yard gain. Again, Jalen Hurts, he is so methodical and risk-adverse, and it's coming up too much. He's way too cautious in this game. Again, down in the red zone. I promise you, A.J. Brown is number 1 right there. He got the rubbing man, yet we don't throw it to him. Instead, we double clutch. We throw this crazy route to the boundary. Now it's a touchdown. It's a great throw. But again, we missed our primary receiver. This is not the same play. We're down here again. He is number 1. Throw him the ball on a slant. There's not a person on that defense that can stop him. Or throw it to number 2, Devontae Smith, who's one-on-one and is 1. Instead, we've come all the way through to our 3rd read in the progression. By the way, they're outnumbered up there. It's 4-on-3. Again, we still luck our way out of this with the touchdown pass. My point is, he had 4 targets for 40 yards. He should have had 10 targets. There were 5 other plays in this game where A.J. Brown is one-on-one with the defender and winning and not getting the ball, right? It's not complicated. Jalen Hurts struggled in this game. I don't know why he was double clutching these balls. Turn it loose. It's not that hard.
Maybe going forward in games, maybe today he gets 10 targets, but I think 10 targets for A.J. Brown, I mean, for the rest of the way in this regular season is going to be rare, because I just think Jalen Hurts is getting used to this new normal, which is what the Philadelphia Eagles are, and A.J.'s got to get used to it. And of course, I'm talking about Saquon Barkley and what they are now. So I'm playing quarterback, and I know what I have in terms of a running back and an offensive line, and then I look over there when I'm on the sideline, and I see this defense that has a combination of young, up-and-coming stars and a veteran mix. These linebackers, Bond and Nakobe Dean, they're all playing well. They're balling out there. So I don't blame Jalen for saying, all I got to do is take care of this football, and we're going to win. We're going to win eventually, and that's something AJ's got to get used to. But I will say this, though. I mean, there's going to come a game. There's going to come a game down the road where, say you're playing the Lions in the playoffs, and they're going back and forth. A.J. Brown is going to be needed to complete the championship journey, and that's the sort of battle the quarterback has to have and keeping everyone happy, but there will be a time for him.
He's missed time this year to injury, and the offense doesn't function at the same level when he's not out there. So he's out there now, and he can be selfish, as you described it there, Rex. So what? To what I say is, we're talking about the Eagles last year, all the things that were going wrong, the team falling apart. We're talking about a controversy now, and they are a win today away from setting the all-time franchise win streak record.
Yep.
The Philadelphia Eagles, with all this controversy, to me, that's a big deal.
I got to say it. Like, that's what bothers me, all right? Because we recognize that this team is playing outstanding. Why the hell do you have to bring it to the I mean, you know everybody's going to talk about it. You can do it privately. You can do it in meetings.
Are you
and all
feeding,
that
learned
stuff.
behavior.
are you feeding him
Rex.
today, Rex? Head coach, are we feeding A.J. Brown just to like
Squeaky
temper
wheel.
the?
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to feed him anyway because he had 3 touchdowns the last time they played against Pittsburgh. If I know, you're going to get single high. I mean, we talked about it last night, Alex. It's not hard to sit back and say, hey, they're playing single high. Bam!
Yeah.
Hold the football.
It's still run, Eagles, run.
But
I got a couple-
Is it run? Is it fly, Eagles, fly?
No, it's run, Eagles, run.
No, it's more like block, A.J. block.
We have to keep winning. And that's what we need to do.
Listen, two things on this. One, this is learned behavior. I mean, how many times has Nick Sirianni got up in a press conference post-game and put his foot in his mouth or created controversy, right? This is part of the culture in Philly. And then to push back on this, I agree. This is an historic run game with Saquon. As a quarterback, this simplifies things. All you're getting is one-on-ones. To my point of watching the tape, like, what? Why are there's no? You don't even have
Those
to
were
think.
some throws.
It's A.J. Brown. They don't have a guy that can cover him. Throw him the ball. It's the easiest progression in football.
You also missed the big point. When there's a controversy in Philly, as Sal Palantonio said, he doesn't do scrums. He doesn't do scrums. He said that during the live shot right there.
That was good.
Sal doesn't do scrums.
And for what it's worth, and our friend Randy Moss definitely want this mentioned here, they haven't lost a game this year when A.J. Brown has played. The Eagles are 10-0 when A.J. Brown plays. So the idea that he is somehow the forgotten man in this offense probably doesn't make a lot of sense. How will Bill Belichick do in college? And that's a story that we can talk about another time. To me, the bigger and more interesting story for this audience, Schefter, is why in the world did a man with his resume not find any interest in the National Football League in what amounts to 2 separate opportunities this year?
Oh, let's take you through this as best we can. And I think it starts with Bill being selective about any job that he would take as he surveys the landscape of teams with openings or with potential openings. He's smart enough to look ahead and see how it's going to shake out. And I don't think that he viewed there being a match that was waiting to happen for him at the National Football League. At the same time, other teams were selective in their own ways. Last year, Atlanta bypassed him when there were people around the league who thought that that deal was getting done. And it was tracking to get done until it didn't. And then Washington did have some contact, but was so far down the road with Dan Quinn that it wasn't going to waver from its stance. And so Bill Belichick is open to anything because at his core, he's a coach and he wants to coach and he doesn't want to get shut out. And Carolina calls him. And now everybody's wondering if he'll stay there. The buyout is set up to where it's $10 million in June 25th. First of all, I had teams call me this week. They're laughing at the number, laughing at the money in the NFL. If they want to go after Bill Belichick, it is so simple to get around that buyout, either included in his contract structure. But Bill Belichick didn't go to Carolina with the idea that he's leaving. If it comes up at some point in time, it doesn't work out there, and there's a match, then again, he would be open to going back to the NFL. But I think that he was selective. Teams didn't look at him, and he didn't give them the chance to look at him this upcoming cycle. He set up the buyout so that there is flexibility, even though he has no plans to leave. And I'll tell you the underlying feeling about this. There were calls that I got this week from people on coaching staffs and front offices, and they were sad. They were sad that the greatest coach in the National Football League has left the game, creating a loss for the NFL to go coach at North Carolina.
My reaction.
They
right
were
there.
sad.
That was my reaction. Like, I thought it was a joke. I'm like, what are we doing here? I mean, with Bill Belichick going to coach North Carolina, I mean, college football, there's only one bowl game I want to see Bill Belichick coaching, and that's the Super Bowl. Okay, I don't want to see him coaching some lawnmower bowl in December or January. I mean, that's just not who I am. I mean, this is a guy that we talk around this table so many times about poorly coached football teams, okay? And the NFL just let the best go. I don't know how there wouldn't be any interest as to where you bring a Belichick in and he makes you come immediately relevant and well coached by who he is. Would he make one of these teams that needed a head coach this year an immediate contender? I mean, yes, he would. He is that good. Now, he's not going to be on the level of 6 championships, New England Patriots or anything like that, but your team would be competent from the get-go. And then it's on your players. So I can't believe that Bill Belichick won't be in the NFL next year. And that's something that was my initial reaction to some of the same ones you got, Schefter, because I don't know how this happened.
I'm with all you guys. I think I'm in shock. I mean, listen, the New York Giants are 16.5-point underdogs today, right? Like, there are several organizations that have lost all credibility. I mean, Bill is instant credibility, right? What he brings to the table. And I don't know if there's an underlying ageism here. I feel like every owner is trying to hire the next Sean McVay or Kevin O'Connell, right? And certainly this year it looks like it's Ben Johnson. But, like, there's only one Ben Johnson, right? And there's going to be 7 openings this year, Schefter, right? And like six owners are going to be left there thinking they're going to get Ben Johnson, and they're not going to get him. And I just feel like here's this proven commodity, and I don't understand why there was zero interest, right? Like, why wasn't the interview process even? Why didn't they bring him in for a conversation? Let's hear what the greatest coach of all time has to say.
Well, first off, I think it has to get down the road, and maybe he was just like, you know what, I'm going to take this as an opportunity to, to go to college, coach, and all that. I was one of those coaches that felt like crushed that he's not in the NFL. All right, because I mean, nobody's lost to Bill Belichick more than I did. I can assure you. All right. But the respect I have for him, he's an NFL legend. He's an NFL coach. He deserves the all-time record. And I've been texting my guy. I'm like, well, I never saw that coming. I guess you already got enough. I guess you already have enough records.
I wanted to see him pass Shula.
I absolutely did.
I don't think he cared all that much. Would it be nice?
Apparently not.
Fine. And I think ultimately there's the mark. There's how close he was to setting the all-time wins record for a coach at the National Football League. But ultimately, in the end, he took the bird in hand. He didn't trust.
Does he?
He didn't trust the NFL that bypassed him last year in favor of some of the coaches it hired to do the right thing and hire him this year. And again, we talked about this the other day. You talk about some of these franchises not being well-run, incompetent, relevant, whatever you want to call them. Look what Bill Belichick did for North Carolina. North Carolina football got more attention this past week than it did in the last 30 years combined because of Bill Belichick. So if there's an NFL team, any NFL team that hires Bill Belichick, not only do you get the credibility, but you get the relevancy and everything that comes along with hiring a guy like Bill Belichick.
Taking the bird in hand, does he know what that bird is? Does he know what college football is?
It's more like the pro game than ever before.
You have no control over these players, all right? There's no contract, 3-year contract, 4-year contract. These are 1-year deals. I'm the player. I have the control. All right, transfer portal, NIL, and anything. It's like, hey, you want to tell me, Bill, this is Bill Belichick, and I'm great, but Coach, South Carolina's got me $100,000 on the table. So what is it? Because that's all I want to know. And how is he going to deal with those type of situations where I was on Jed Fish's staff at the University of Arizona for 3 years as an advisor, talking to him multiple times, meetings, telephone calls, Zoom calls, everything from getting a kid to study hall and tutor sessions to the kids coming into his office saying, I need to pay my mom's rent and I need help. So how does Bill deal with all this? Oh, you got a general manager? No, I wanted my kid to see the head coach. And there's a whole energy level that Bill's got to get used to.
So there's the college side of this. And again, there'll be plenty of time to think that through.